Josh is an artist at Marvel Comics, and his boss is none other than Stan Lee himself. One day, he decides to strike up a conversation with a beautiful woman he meets on the street, but the encounter is abruptly cut short when she suddenly becomes ill and is taken away in an ambulance. She manages to tell Josh that her name is Cheryl and that she has diabetes, but when Josh later goes to the hospital where she was supposedly taken, he discovers that no one there has ever heard of a Cheryl. Larry Cohen is one of the most important figures in American independent cinema, a master of bizarre plots, outrageous concepts, and fast, scrappy filmmaking. For most of his career, he avoided working with major studios, yet he left behind a legacy many celebrated writers and directors would envy. He started out writing for television, went on to direct several blaxploitation films, and then shifted toward horror, infusing the genre heavily with irony and satire. His horror film It's Alive told the story of a mutant baby born as a result of pharmaceutical experiments, while The Stuff About Killer Desserts took aim at consumerism. The Ambulance is one of his relatively late works, a bridge between past and future, something halfway between the satirical horrors of the 70s and 80s and the high-concept, high-speed thrillers like Phone Booth and Cellular, whose screenplays he would write in the 2000s. It's a movie that launches at full speed, only to start swerving so wildly along the way that you're no longer sure how you're supposed to react to what's happening. In interviews, Cohen said he was intrigued by the idea of reimagining the sound of an ambulance siren, universally associated with rescue and help, as a signal of approaching danger. He draws attention to how easy it is to commit evil in broad daylight in a busy city. Someone arrives, picks a person up, drives away, and no one stops to question whether the people in the ambulance are really who they claim to be. But Cohen wouldn't be Cohen if he developed this idea straight through pure suspense and a clean thriller framework. There's a lot of comedy in the film, and it seeps into every empty pore of the narrative like sauce soaking into a dessert. Eric Roberts plays Josh with a light touch that still feels relatively sincere, but he's surrounded by a true panopticon of characters dialed up to maximum eccentricity. This starts with the black detective Spencer, played by James Earl Jones, who communicates almost exclusively through threats while constantly chewing gum, and extends to Josh's hospital roommate, an elderly journalist who sees conspiracies everywhere and dreams of writing one last big expose. Cohen couldn't care less about structure, pacing, or genre logic. He does whatever seems interesting to him in the moment, which is why the ambulance lurches from one extreme to another. A horror sequence can suddenly turn into a stunt-driven action scene, and an ordinary conversation can morph into a full-blown comedy sketch where every line lands as a punchline. There's not a shred of plausibility in any of it, but there's an abundance of sheer entertainment value, and some of Cohen's gags practically demand applause. Just look at the ending, where passersby offer to call an ambulance for Josh, who has only just narrowly escaped death. The Ambulance is one of those films you're unlikely to find on any recommendation list because it doesn't fit neatly into any genre. And while watching it, you'll probably catch yourself thinking that it's all some kind of fever dream. But that's Cohen's trademark, his audacity, stubbornness, and determination to combine the incompatible. He's like a baby stubbornly trying to force a triangle into a circular hole, not caring in the slightest that something clearly doesn't line up. It's impossible not to respect him, and The Ambulance should be watched not as a conventional thriller, but as auteur cinema, not judging Cohen for failing to meet your expectations, but appreciating how gleefully he smears those expectations across the asphalt.